Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of The Mandatory. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at The Mandatory TKO, and you can find us on the audio side as well. So, wherever you get your shows, podcasts, we're on there too. So, if you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review. We do appreciate you if you've already been rocking with the show. And as our good friend Jesus says, happy Tuesday. Yeah, we took a little bit of a layoff, Brian, last week. A little bit of a slow week in boxing, I guess you could kind of say. But things are kind of heating up in terms of news because there was big news that came out. And before we get into all that, Brian, how have you been? Because it's been kind of a slow boxing weeks. You know, there's fights, but I mean, they're not like big pay-per-view fights or anything like that.
Yeah, I've been mostly watching FIBA tournaments, WNBA, baseball. The Mets finally got a win today.
Yeah.
Finally,
Yeah, y'all been
against the
struggling.
Braves. The Mets have this thing where they like to win 7 straight games and then lose 6 straight games and then win 8 straight games and then lose 7 straight games. So they stay barely like a little bit above 500, not barely, but like above 500. They might make the playoffs, they might not. I don't know, but this is one of the streakiest teams that I've ever had the pleasure of watching on a regular basis.
I
So
mean,
there's
your
that.
bullpen was injured too, so you guys went through that, a lot of injuries. But you're in the wild card race right now, like you're in the standings. You make the
Woo.
cut, you know. And
Woo.
as a Dodgers fan, I don't know if I want to see a streaky team. You know, I don't know if I want to see a streaky team, but and the NL is really interesting this year. I know this is not a baseball show, but Brian and I both love baseball. And later on in the show, we're going to get into some fights that are going to be coming up. Also, Jaron Ennis has his new fight. We're going to get into that and his opponent because he's hearing a lot of heat. But we got to start off with the biggest news that came about, you know, just a couple of days ago. The UFC made a deal, and they made a deal with Paramount Plus. And the reason why this is huge is because Paramount bought the UFC rights for $7.7 billion. With that being said, pay-per-view is now dead, and the UFC and ESPN partnership is over. Now, I know you're wondering, this is a boxing show. What does this have to do with anything? Well, this affects boxing directly because where is Top Rank and where are they going to go? Because they're no longer with ESPN. And that poses the big question. Remember, Paramount Plus is a part of CBS. So keep that in mind. And this is going to affect boxing in a very, very interesting way. Brian, $7.7 billion. Yeah, $7.7 billion. This is a crazy deal, but it is on Paramount Plus. Your thoughts on this, and yeah, just your thoughts on it at first.
I was surprised because CBS, while it was kind of talked about, they weren't seen as because they hadn't had a deal with the UFC at all, really. I mean, Spike TV was under Viacom, CBS, like that whole thing. But you know, you figured they would re-up with ESPN, especially after ESPN gets to WWE. And we've talked about, will TKO want to have all their properties in one place, or will they just sell to the highest bidder? And it looks like they'll just sell to the highest bidder because there wasn't even, according to the reports from MMA journalists, not a ton of optimism that the UFC would get north of 1 billion per year, and they did. They got a big amount of money with 7.7 billion, 1.1 billion per year approximately. And this is on the heels of Top Rank reportedly not being renewed for what would have been like 80 million a year on ESPN. Now, Top Rank UFC, not necessarily the same thing, but Top Rank was under ESPN, is not anymore. And this is sort of the angle that we want to look at as one, a boxing show, but two, also just out of curiosity, because whatever's going to happen with UFC and CBS, like there's going to be more reporting, follow-up reporting. There are articles about that, and there's a lot to get into that's, I think, interesting there. But I found myself thinking about, all right, what does this mean for boxing? And on one hand, the Top Rank piece is still yet to be determined. There's not a Top Rank card announced yet. Oscar Valdez has a fight coming up. Don't know where it's going to air. I know Naoya Inoue is going to fight Akhmadaliev September 14th. Do we know where that's going to be definitively?
No, but I think that would be the primetime event. So it's like, first off, I'm excited for the Oscar Valdez fight. If anyone watches the show,
It's a
you
comeback
know
fight.
how I feel about Oscar Valdez. I'll say this, though. where Top Rank goes is going to be so important. And it's interesting because ESPN, like the fact that they're stepping away from combat sports, essentially, Brian, right? Like they didn't go for the UFC, and I believe that they weren't even close to $1.1 billion per year. This is of AAV, right? ESPN wasn't close to that offer for UFC, but it's very interesting because now ESPN is totally taken out of like boxing in general, and that's weird to me personally. Guys, Top Rank on ESPN was my favorite from all of them. I liked it better than PBC.
The broadcast, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it better than PBC. I like a lot better than DAZN. But this is very interesting. What, I'm being honest, okay? This is an honest show, and we're just going to tell you straight up. And usually you don't even get this version of me when I'm doing other work, right? So, I mean, it's way better than DAZN. Let's be serious. I think DAZN broadcast is probably the worst.
I think a lot of people, as much as Timothy Bradley gets a lot of flack, but I think
that's why we like to watch it though, because of what he's gonna say. I love when they had Andre Ward on there. I'm still upset that he's not on the Top Rank broadcast, but now this is going to be very, very interesting.
We might get to Andre Ward later.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to our good friend Marlon, 2631. He said, finally, my people back. We're happy to be with you here, Marlon, and we're happy you're here. Leave your comments. By the way, guys, we're going to get into that during the show. Brian, so ESPN wasn't close to getting UFC in terms of what they were going to offer. We know they're not rocking with boxing. Like, let's take a look at that piece because I think it's very interesting. What do you think it says to you that ESPN's not in the combat sports game now?
They're not rocking with Top Rank. So this is where my curiosity went, because I'm like, okay, and I will pull up this tweet, although this isn't necessarily about ESPN in particular, but there is some reporting being done as it relates to, all right, what are the sort of the next steps here, which is obviously what we like talking about here. So Dan Rafael, longtime boxing reporter.
Oh, yeah, the share screen. Let's go, Brian.
Let's do it. Per Front Office Sports, after finalizing, is he with Front Office Sports now? Okay, no, I didn't think so. But Front Office Sports, after finalizing the UFC deal, Paramount is in advanced talks to make another deal with TKO, this one for media rights, so to its startup Zuffa Boxing, which we've talked about, whatever it's going to be called, Zuffa, TKO, Sella, whatever. Power slap with fists. I don't know. But
what the hell is Zuffa, though?
Dana White has been trying to get off Zuffa Boxing off the ground for years. This is what he's always called it. Like his boxing promotion, it's always been Zuffa. I don't know what Zuffa means. I don't particularly care that much.
I think it sounds super lame. Like, what does that sound like? It sounds like a type of like Greek dish. I'd like some Zuffa, please. I was gonna, with the side of tzatziki. I don't know. Like,
I love some Greek food slaps.
No, I love Greek food. It's my favorite. Top 3, by the way. Top 3.
Really?
Yeah, top 3 for me. We have in Vancouver. We have some of the best Greek food. We have a big Greek community, so it's actually top 3 for me. Maybe number 2.
Mexican's going to be up there for you, I'm sure.
Yes, of course. It's number 1. It's number 1. So
I think yeah. So Paramount's the front runner for this, which that would be very interesting for Paramount and CBS and its properties to then have the stranglehold on essentially boxing and the UFC. You wouldn't get all of boxing, but you get TKO, who we're all projecting to be the most powerful entity in boxing in due time once they, do all the things that we've been kind of saying / potentially warning, depending on what side you're on, of what's to come. And then with pro wrestling, that being a shared entity with right now Peacock and Netflix, and then ESPN will get it. Don't know what's going to happen with SmackDown. SmackDown is not part of any of those networks. They're on the USA. They could potentially go to Netflix. They could potentially go to CBS. They could potentially go to ESPN. Like, we don't know. So there's a lot there. We also got some interesting questions on this we could tackle. But
yes,
yeah, Paramount's making some moves, and ESPN don't know. And then Top Rank, look, I don't want to see Top Rank on DAZN. No. I don't want to see that. I hope that Top Rank is able to get a TV deal. There has been rumors about Turner, Warner Brothers, like
Turner makes the most sense to me. Like Turner would be dope.
Yeah, like Top Rank on TNT, Top Rank on TBS just sounds great. It's good marketing. Top Rank would also need to like step up their roster, so to speak. But I mean, can't and then this lends the question: can an entity like that exist successfully in a TKO world if they're not working together? And then we also got a comment about MVP: is does ESPN want to get in the Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian business with MVP, who has been doing business with the Zone and Netflix, but I think Jake Paul, like, it obviously can transcend, and what he's doing can transcend the Zone, so to speak. ESPN is just a bigger brand, bigger entity, like bigger budget, all those different things. But I mean, where are you at on all this?
So I think there's a couple of places that boxing, I mean, Top Rank could go, right? There's only like a few avenues. So number one is DAZN. Let's hope not. Because and don't get it twisted, I have DAZN because I think if you're in the UK and you're in Canada and you're outside of the US, DAZN is great in terms of getting your boxing fix, getting NFL Sunday ticket, getting all that soccer. Like it's perfect for that, but it is a hefty price because also when I first got DAZN, we were told that pay-per-view wouldn't exist, that we would pay a monthly fee, and at the time it was like $10 a month or something like that, or you could pay for the full year for like $150. And now it's like $30 a month. Like that's crazy in terms of how it's jumped. And now you have to also buy a separate pay-per-view. It's trash. It's terrible, right? I'm only keeping it for NFL Sunday ticket because I have to watch every game. So the only thing that I'll say about that is DAZN is an option. Turner makes the most sense to me if you want to go towards linear TV. And other than that, it's like the one place that I really like, and we've seen Jake Paul and MVP go here, it's Netflix. Netflix to me is where sports should be. Like we've seen the NFL on Netflix. Everyone has Netflix. Like I know this Paramount deal is huge, but it's like, who has Paramount? I don't know anyone that has Paramount. Now in Canada, it's offered within Amazon Prime, but you have to pay like an extra like $12 to get Paramount. And unless you're like a big UFC person, I don't think you're paying for it. Like, I don't know. Do you have Paramount, dude?
I watch like there's stuff on CBS that I'll tune into, like games and stuff, but I don't have Paramount as an app.
Yes, no, CBS, like it's offered within linear TV. I watch CBS all the time. But like in terms of an extra app, I don't have Paramount. I don't. Like the one app that I think is universal that most people have is Netflix. Another place where I think, and this is kind of different, right? Because we're entering a space where, and Bryan and I both work in media, and like things are kind of moving away and shifting from like regular cable. And a lot of things are going into streaming, which is why like digital stuff is so important, guys. And, you know, we see like NFL on Amazon Prime and everything like that. I actually think a cool place where no one's really gone to is like YouTube. Like YouTube TV. Like, I don't know why no one's looking into this. Like, everyone is always on YouTube.
So we know Pro Box because we talk about them fairly regularly here. Like they're one of the only entities that has done that. I know Boxing Insider has done some of this as well, although they also have done the zone route. They've gone the SNY route with Broadway Boxing and that series. But with YouTube, Pro Box TV just kind of went all in on it, and it's like, hey, our fights are going to be free on YouTube, and it's a business model that's worked. I don't know how much they're making, but I assume they're making something. Like they have bread, they have backing, they have people who are in charge, who appear to be smart, know what they're doing, and they're putting fights on there. And anytime I've looked at a Pro Box card on ESPN, like there's a lot of people in the stream. There's comments going the entire time. It sounds like an ad, but it doesn't mean to be. But I think with with Top Rank, they can go that route. I don't think Bob and the leadership there wants to, like, they would probably see that as a step down going from ESPN to YouTube. And I think, but I also think it's reasonable. Like Bob Arum is a name that still matters to a lot of people because he's been promoting in boxing for over half a century at this point. Like he's 90 something years old and sharp for his age, not for nothing. Which is, I think surprising when you look at some other people who are probably around that age group. But I think with Bob Arum, with Top Rank, like I think they would want to probably secure some sort of a TV deal. It seems that way. Now, we do have some comments that are real interesting that I think are worth getting to. So let's do that. But yeah, I think there with Top Rank, we have to know soon because Xander Zayas was the last ESPN top ranked card. There doesn't seem to be a renewal, and on top of that, like we're getting toward the end of the year here, and normally by now we'd be hearing about more top ranked cards. Like this is coming on ESPN Plus late August. This is coming on ESPN in September. Like your big cards, like you start to have some big cards in September, October, November now before the end of the year. And we mentioned a couple of top ranked guys are fighting coming up, like an Oscar Valdez, like a Naoya Inoue. And if you don't have a TV deal or some sort of situation clarified quick enough, you could start losing some guys depending on the nature of their contract. Like we start to see some guys leave PBC when they were in flux, then they went to Amazon and people were still leaving because on Amazon they've been a lot less active than when they were on Showtime. So we'll see what happens.
This is really interesting because, like, Brian, where do you think they could land other than DAZN? Like, where do you think Top Rank could land?
And you know why TNT also makes sense is because they have AEW. So there's an interest there, and they have a history also of dealing with combat sports, even though, you know, it's not necessarily the same. One championship has been on TNT as well. Like they've had their experimentation with that. If the reporting is that CBS is probably going to go the TKO route, and I do wonder, like, do other outlets look at, hey, we only want TKO because we know what's coming, we're not interested in a Top Rank or a PBC or a Matchroom or whatever it is, you know? I do wonder if that's going to be the case as well. Let's hit some comments because y'all have been patient and dropping some good shit in here. Jesus says people still criticize the UFC Paramount deal. I'm trying to help you out here, saying fighters will not be paid that significantly, but I think they will get more than currently. Well, fighters didn't unionize. Fighters don't really get protected, and they don't do a lot to protect themselves because they're kind of just cool with the status quo. And as a result, I don't think they're going to get a lot more than they're getting now. Maybe they'll get a bump. Maybe certain people will get a bump, but like they don't fight for shit. You know what I mean? They fight each other. They fight for, you know, what they fight for. But in terms of money, they don't actually fight for shit. Like there were a lot of advocates for increased fighter pay. And some of the fighters were kind of just like not fighting for their own pay. So people backed off. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to see a big increase in money. That's not a Paramount thing either. That's a UFC thing. Like that has nothing to do with Paramount. That's all just UFC. And you know, they haven't shown a willingness to really pay people like that because they're like, well, if you're going to be in MMA, and this is part of the monopoly, if you're going to be in MMA, you're going to want to come here. So we don't have to pay you that much.
Which is unfortunate, right? Because like they're robbing dudes and these guys put their life on the line and they should get way more of a share in the revenue. And that's a whole other discussion. Like if I was those UFC guys, I would just strike.
They won't. They don't have to.
I know they won't because they can't. They won't. But like, they should get paid more, dude. Like, it's ridiculous.
I agree.
Like, but Dana White is like robbing these dudes.
You and I both know, and it's not even Dana White specifically. It's just like they just allow themselves to be dealt with by this system in this way. I think really what it is like a lot of people. It goes back to the beliefs, and a lot of these people are very individualistic in that way. Boxers are very similar. And they're just like, why are we going to band together for? I just care about my money, my situation, my bread. I don't give a shit about like, you know, everybody. Like a lot of people are just selfish in that way. And I think by nature, you know, some of these guys are like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I saw a really good comment actually.
Diego, do you like this new deal for the UFC for the fighters? Will we get the watered down product? I mean, it's a great deal for the UFC. Because I mean, 7.7 billion for 7 years. I think it's good for now for the fans. I think in the short term, it's a win for the fans because they don't have to worry about pay-per-view. Now we'll see how the deal actually grows from there. But for the short term, cool. For the fighters, I don't know. I don't know. Like if I don't know, I'm not very optimistic that they're all of a sudden going to get like these big significant raises. Like, oh, the company's getting more money. Now we're going to get more money. Do you know how many times in media I've seen the company I work at be like, oh, we just had an amazing fourth quarter. And then they just lay off a bunch of people after. Like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Like,
Dude,
the company is
like,
gonna do what it does.
so I used to work for a radio station out here. It was TSN Radio, and it was during COVID. And then like Bell got a grant during COVID for like $30 million. And they were like, you know what? Screw the grant. We're gonna lay off people. Let's shut down this radio station. It's legit what happened. Like they had the money and they still laid off people. So that doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
Like the people that are up top are gonna get paid regardless. But I don't know if the structure for how the fighters get paid. I don't even know, because the thing about it, these guys want to fight. And if no one's like complaining or doing anything, like they're going to keep on doing the same thing. I think this is just really interesting, because it's like, I would love to know where Top Rank is going to land. And I would love to know how much their deal is going to be, because this is all really important in terms of like where they are in linear TV. Do you think there's a chance that NBC could ever want to get involved with Top Rank?
I've thought about that.
Because NBC just got involved with, the NBA. Like NBA on NBC is back, right? Like the theme music is going to be back. Like I can't wait. But do you think there's a chance they could get with boxing? Because I think Top Rank is a brand that, listen, a lot of people love this Top Rank brand.
You have Peacock, and if you have a streaming service you're invested in, I think you're always going to need live programming content, period. So I think that's another one that, we should bring up that makes sense. Now, in terms of interest, from what's been reported, there hasn't been as much smoke there as there has been for like TNT and even DAZN. So I don't know. But if I'm Peacock, but again, I'm a biased boxing person, right? Like I would, if I had a service, I would want boxing on it. You know what I mean? Especially something well presented. They have stars, they have champions, they have young stars, they have a good mix of different weight classes covered, but I don't know what they're prioritizing. And I get the sense that a lot of these major outlets don't really like prioritize boxing in that way. But going back to the UFC stuff, we'll see. I mean, look, you and I have both worked at companies where they announced that they were going to have a TV channel. And then from there, they weren't necessarily liberal about handing out extensions for a lot of people afterwards.
We thought, I'm not gonna lie, guys, we thought, we were like, yo, they got a TV deal. This is dope for us.
No, I did not react like. I told you I was worried, because I was like, we hadn't heard about this.
That's true. But I thought it was gonna be good for us. Like I was like, oh, they got. But then they started making all these like weird changes and like digital content. Like Brian, near the end of that job, we weren't really doing a lot of digital stuff.
No, but you would think that a company would keep on two of the only people that they had with TV experience to do TV stuff. But evidently, but I don't know how many people watch that channel, if I'm going to be honest. Okay. Does ESPN want to partner with MVP? IMPK13 says. Don't know, but that wouldn't surprise me at this point. Jesus says, Shantelle, any good Mexican food in Vancouver?
There's a lot, because we have a big Mexican community, but I'll say this, like, to get like good, authentic Mexican, there's only like a few really good spots, and like it just doesn't compare to Cali. Like I'm always at home trying to find like the best birria taco, but it's not authentic because it'll always be beef instead of like lamb and goat, which, as you know, birria, like traditionally it's got to be goat or lamb or something like that. So we don't have any good birria spots, I'll say that much. And so every time I'm in Cali, it's like I'm eating Mexican food like every day. Right? Seattle's a little bit similar.
I've seen burrito pictures from you, so I can confirm this.
Oh yeah, that's true. This is right. That's true.
My Mexican friends tell me that people from California think that Mexican food in New York
better than Texas
is a joke, and that people from Mexico think all Mexican food in America is a joke. So
dude, yeah, that's true. But like, I can't wait. I'm gonna go to Mexico later this year. And I am gonna go check out like.
Me too, actually.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Or early next, TBD. But
I'm going, and so I can't wait to like try actual Mexican food in Mexico. Like I'm gonna be in heaven. But nonetheless,
let's
get
a cooking class. I'm gonna take a cooking class.
I was actually thinking about going down there and like doing like a training session. Like that would be sick. Like a boxing gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I want to do that, and my friends are like, you're don't do it. You're going to be so unsafe. I'm like, nah, like people do this. Like
that's your style though. What do you mean?
I know. No, I don't like to be unsafe, but I think that's something I'm going to do when I'm down there. Cause I think it would be like like bucket list type stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to be at a boxing gym in Mexico and like train for a day, like that'd be dope. So I'm gonna look into that. But yeah,
I go to one of those gyms. They'll get mad at me for moving around. Like, why are you fainting so much? Go. Like, you know what I mean? I just want the truth. Says I could be wrong, but I heard Khalil Ko is fighting Vosnik on the Boots undercard. That is interesting. If that happens, Khalil Ko is doing well as of late. So we'll see.
We might as well just talk about Boots now. Thank you. I just want the truth.
Yeah,
I mean, we might as well just, you know.
Just a couple other comments. Let's see. The zone cost me $245.20. IMPK says, I do have Paramount Plus, but I get it free with Walmart Plus.
I don't know what that is. I don't think we have Walmart Plus up here, but listen, the zone is like ridiculously expensive.
Also notes Ring City USA was on NBC briefly in 2020. I forgot about that completely.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They had PBC too.
Yeah, and here's another thing. I don't think they'll go there. Remember when PBC was on Fox?
They were on Fox for the longest outside of Showtime.
Yeah. And so like, but Fox is doing different stuff now. So I don't think they're going to get back in the boxing game. But like, I remember when PBC first had that deal, I loved it. Like, yeah, I thought, you know, it was accessible. And so that's the reason why I don't want Top Rank to go to the zone, is because I want it to be somewhere that's accessible. Yeah. And sometimes with these streaming services, like it doesn't work. Like, for example, Major League Soccer, MLS, went off linear TV and they were like, we're giving all of our rights to Apple TV.
Yeah.
Their ratings are not good. It's terrible. And if you want the highest level of soccer to grow in North America, it probably wasn't the best move. And they signed a 10-year deal. And I think they're like 3 years in and their ratings are terrible. And so that's another thing. It's like, you can try to be a little bit different and, you know, go the digital route completely, but sometimes that's not the best option. It's just not. But I think for a sport, I think for something like Top Rank, though, it could work. However, in terms of a sport that's trying to grow in North America, I don't know if for Major League Soccer, that was the best thing to do.
MLS Commissioner Don Garber recently revealed that MLS Season Pass on Apple TV is averaging 120,000 unique viewers per match, a 50% increase from the previous year. However, a fraction of what they saw on traditional television.
It's terrible, dude.
Remember, it was on ESPN and ESPN2 and platforms like that.
And it was on Fox Sports.
And Fox.
Fox Sports had Major League Soccer. Like, this was a thing. And it's like, it's the highest level of soccer in North America. And like, I know people in the UK laugh at us and people that love the Premier League, whatever, but it's the highest in North America. And I think it could potentially grow. Like going to a soccer game is super fun, but for them to go over to Apple TV after they were kind of on a rise and people were watching the games on ESPN and Fox Sports was the worst move for Major League Soccer, the worst. So it's like, for Top Rank, I don't want them to go somewhere where it's not as accessible, because that's, you know, the zone, not a lot of people have it. Like, I don't think it's as accessible as, you know, the other options. That's why I'm like, I hope they go to Netflix, you know, because Netflix is like a place where it's like, I do think there should be sports on Netflix. I like the way they've done it. Some technical difficulties, but that's going to happen, right? Ebbs and flows. But yeah.
Couple comments before we get to Boots. That's an excellent point, by the way. That's one of my favorite points that you've made. The MLS one. If Top Rank also went to Apple TV, it'd be a disaster. Yeah. Jose says pay-per-view is dead in all caps and says, I got a magic box. Everything is free there. Okay. Be careful where you say that out loud. Jesus says Hulu Top Rank because Hulu's partnership was with ESPN ? I don't know what Hulu is actually.
But Hulu's owned by Disney, right? And isn't ESPN owned by Disney? So
yeah, I heard that they might like merge or whatever, and like merge the apps or whatever. Everyone's merging. This is what companies do. IMPK makes a great point. Boxers aren't a commodity; they're a collection of individuals. And UFC flirts with being a monopoly. I think they straight up are. Well, ESPN still does have PFL for now. I don't know what this means for PFL. That's kind of one of the under-discussed things. Yeah. I'll be tuning into some of the responsible MMA people that I follow to see what's up with that. But yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, but one more thing before we move on to Jaron Ennis. And this is a different type of subject, but I want to get into this because ESPN's made so many changes within the last 5 years. Like, it's totally different. Sports Center is different, right? It's not like how it was when we were growing up. It's totally different from 20 years ago. Brian, what are your thoughts on like ESPN getting out of combat sports like that? Like, I think it's a big deal, and I think it's telling us something.
I think ESPN, we both know, has gone from being a content company to a sports rights company more so. Like they've always had rights, but now it's more tilted toward that way. They've gotten rid of a lot of shows and a lot of good shows, as a matter of fact. And I just think that it says something about where combat sports is, where boxing is in particular. The
Mhm.
number for this deal was just very high, and I guess ESPN just were like, okay, we're just not gonna go, because there was interest there to resign, and a lot of people thought that they would. Like, why wouldn't ESPN want to run this back? Even though people are complaining about the quality of the UFC diminishing, of which I don't really disagree with that. Like we've talked about UFC not being as hot maybe now as it was. It's at an interesting time, but the brand is still very popular. The brand is still something that people want to associate themselves with. And I think with boxing, like, what's the boxing entity you want to invest in right now? If you're somebody who is not like a boxing person, what's the boxing entity you want to invest in right now? You probably don't care for Top Rank like that. PBC is not what it was in the pre-Amazon days. You don't give a shit about anything going on with Zone probably. And the TKO thing, it's like there's not a long-term proof of concept yet. So if you're not a boxing person, you're probably skeptical all around, and you're probably looking at the sport like, what am I paying for? One big fight a year? Like that's probably how you're looking at it from a casual perspective. If you're somebody who cares about sports rights, not somebody who cares about, like, they might loosely know who Terrence Crawford is. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
think these people are so important, but like in the grand scheme of sports, which we talk about all the time, they might not care that much. So I just think that it just says a lot about where the perception of the sport is, I guess.
And that's also a reason why I think UFC got that $7.7 billion deal. And that has to do with the fact that as much as we love boxing, we know how great boxing is, and a lot of people on the show that are friends of the show, I always say, like, we have the smartest friends of the show that watch the show. Like, we love boxing and we know the value of it, right? But when it comes to like casual fans and people that just watch big pay-per-view fights, some of those people still believe that because UFC is like, I don't want to say more accessible, but it's more popular, I guess you could say,
It
in
is
this
more
day and
accessible,
age.
though. It is more
Yeah.
accessible because you see stuff on ESPN, whereas like
That's
a lot
true.
of boxing's on the Zone, and we talk about it all
Yeah.
the time. Like, who actually has the Zone?
But also, here's the thing: it's like there's a lot of fight parties for like every UFC event, and in New York, the city of New York loves boxing, right? But here in Vancouver, to go and find where they're going to play a big boxing fight, unless it's like Bud or Canelo,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen. But every UFC fight is on at the bar. Every UFC fight, right?
Yep.
It's a UFC fight
Here too.
party. And so, okay, so they've done a great job in marketing that. And I think that's what's missing in boxing. And also, it's like, if you don't follow boxing like us, it's really hard to keep up of like who the champions are. Right. And this is why I think TKO is of interest to some people, of being under one banner, because it's so hard to follow. Because if, there's super champions, there's, like there's a WBA, there's a WBC. Like sometimes I'm trying to explain to my friends what a super champ is. Like, and they're not going to understand it. So like there are the pros and cons of it. But I also think the reason why $7.7 billion, Top Rank's not going to be nowhere near that price. Nowhere near that price. It's going to be a crazy difference. And that has to do with the popularity of UFC. And personally, in my opinion, I think the UFC is not what it was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even 5 years ago.
Agree.
It's not. And so it's just it's more popular. And I hate to say it, guys, and I'll go to rap. Just because you're the most popular rapper doesn't mean you're the best rapper. Same thing.
Or the most popular anything. Like, there are people who do what we do in this industry who are very popular, and we look at them and we're kind of like, I mean, if that's what y'all are into. But like, to your point, I go to bars, I go to restaurants, UFC fights are on. Like, anytime it's a Saturday, UFC fights are on. Doesn't matter because the brand is so popular. For boxing, it's like it has to be somebody big. Like, you won't even see David Benavidez. You won't see Bam Rodriguez. You won't see Dimitri Bivol in a bar. You won't see Artur Beterbiev in a bar. Like, yeah, to us, it's crazy. But like, we're talking about pound for pound guys. None of these people None of these people pass the bar test. I've never seen Naoya Inoue in a bar, restaurant, nothing. Only if he fights on ESPN, because they'll just put ESPN because ESPN is the brand that you'll have on in a bar or restaurant. You're not gonna have, oh, we got to put the Inoue fight on for everybody here. Like, no, it's Canelo Alvarez. It's maybe Terrence Crawford now.
Tank Davis. It has to be Tank.
Gervonta Davis. End of list. That's probably it.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like,
and here in New York, Amanda Serrano.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like, even when Tank is fighting, because I think Tank is a big draw, Canelo is a big draw. In Vancouver, you'll still have to call the bar and be like, "Yo, are you playing the boxing fight?" And most of the time, they'll be like, "Oh, we're playing UFC." Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Are you playing the boxing fight or not? And so that's how I feel. You know, it's really unfortunate. But I'll also say this about the popularity of it. I remember Dustin Poirier. I forget who he was fighting, but it was like a weird time at like 2:30 or 3. No, it was like at 9 a.m. or something like that. He was fighting like at a weird time, and like bars in Vancouver like opened up hella early just for that UFC fight. And people were like, "Yo, meet me at the bar at like 9 a.m. to watch like Dustin Poirier fight at like 9 a.m." You would never get that for Naoya Inoue, even though Inoue is like, you could argue he's pound for pound number one, and everyone should actually be watching him fight. It's unfortunate, and like I think marketing is a big thing about it, but I do think like the way boxing has gone, like there's a lot of cons, but there are some pros. But I just wish boxing was at a different level of popularity than it is now. I wish it was.
And for better or worse, TKO might bring that. How they do it, I mean, there will be some questions about how that gets handled, and Dana White will seemingly have his hands in whatever that beast is going to be. Yeah. Speaking of people who are awesome and don't really get put on in bars, Jaron Ennis has an opponent. Now, here's the other issue with the sport. Can any of you tell me if you've seen this man? Do y'all even know who I'm talking about? Not Boots, but his opponent. And two, does anyone in the chat know who he's fighting next? Have you seen this person fight before? Because he's ranked.
Canadian dude. Yeah, he fought a Canadian dude, and he's he's ranked like number 10. But everyone's
this is an eliminator.
Yes.
Number 2 versus number 10 in an eliminator for a championship opportunity.
How do you pronounce his first name, Brian? That's what I want to know. I'm just being honest, yo. But like I do know that he fought a Canadian dude and he whooped his ass. That's what I do know.
I think it's Uisma Lima.
Definitely
Lima.
But you guys also keep in mind, though, that he only has one loss. And I do believe that he has stopped the last 2 of his 3 fights. So that's kind of interesting. So it's like, and here's the thing. It's like, everyone's like, yo, why is Boots fighting Lima? Like, I don't understand. Like, why can't he fight Fundora? Fundora just fought. Like, why can't he fight Tellez? Tellez has a fight coming up. You know, why can't he fight? What's up?
But the rumor that came out before that was Virgil Ortiz in January. See, this is what this is
a tune-up. Is this not a tune-up?
Maybe. But why is it a WBA eliminator if you're allegedly chasing Virgil Ortiz? You would then be chasing Yoenis Tellez, because we know Terrence Crawford is not going to be the WBA champion anymore. Tellez is the interim champion. Tellez, by the way, fights this month. He has a title defense in a week and a half. And Boots Ennis is going to fight for the right to fight for that title. And I got to be honest, like, Ennis versus Lima, like, okay, this is going to be in Philadelphia, I think in October. And there are people in comment sections that I was reading, they're like, yo, Boots got to stop doing this.
But who else was he gonna fight? Brian, pull up the rankings.
Let's do it. Let's
get this bad boy on the screen right now. It's like, I don't. Who else are you gonna fight? Like, there's only.
He could find better opponents.
Okay, let's bring it up. Okay, I gotta see this, because we're gonna go through this and see who he could have fought, because I'm taking a look at like the people that we'd want to see him against, and it's like, well, they've already fought or they have a fight coming up. So this is a stay busy fight for a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis. But also keep in mind that Lima has fought in a weight class above 154. So he's coming back down. I believe he's fought at like 160, and even at a catch weight at 163. So this is a guy that has fought above 154. So let's not just, count Lima out. Like, And we've seen Jaron Boots Ennis have, like, he's such a great boxer, but we've also seen him have some performances where we're left underwhelmed. You never want to take a fight, like, downplay it. Like, we don't know what could happen.
So, one, Lima has, look, he's beating some undefeated guys. I need to look through because, as you mentioned, there's only one fight that I could recall seeing him fight in, and it was against Singh, who is Canadian.
Yeah, this is the fight that I was talking about. So he whooped his ass.
Yeah, it was a wide unanimous decision victory, but otherwise, he's well traveled. Like, look at his last few fights. You got South Africa, Canada, Germany, and the UK, and also obviously some fights in Portugal and Spain early on in his career. So okay, here in the rankings, he is number 10 WBA rankings right now. Ennis is second. Ennis is also fourth in WBO. We talked about the WBO piece of this weeks ago, I think it was, where there was rumors about him fighting Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly's team says that Eddie Hearn lowballed him, that they weren't going to take the fight because it was less than what they've gotten for other fights. And if that's true, even though it's a huge opportunity, I kind of don't blame him, because now if Boots is going the WBA route, if you're Josh Kelly, you can actually angle to fight Xander Zayas straight up for the title, because right now in the rankings, Jorge Garcia Perez is still number 2, but that I don't think that's updated. As a matter of fact, let me scroll up briefly. WBO rankings updated July 22nd. Xander Zayas fought after that. So WBO is about to actually update their rankings then, because they still have to do it for this month.
Wait, hold on. I just gotta get to this. Steven, a good friend of the show, says, are Canadian fighters the same level as Brits? Well, Archer Beterbiev is Canadian now, so no. He's ours.
We'll see if Steve Claggett beats Jabate Ortiz later this month. And we'll
Lucas Body. He's someone very interesting. That's
he's in a
Canadian.
tough fight too. Do you claim Christian Mbili or no? You don't get Christian Mbili.
Nah, because he just fights in Montreal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, he's not actually. I don't think he has like a Canadian citizenship. But Beterbiev, he's Canadian and he's ours. So like, you know what I mean. He's ours. Also, but Lucas Body, he's very like. I'm excited for him. And also we got Tab, right?
The new number 1.
Okay, like we got some heat coming out of Canada, y'all. We got some legit heat, and we also got that guy that is from Vancouver that signed to the money team.
Brown.
Yeah. So
young prospect, really, he can hit, he can crack. We talked about him briefly.
I believe he also trains with like Mayweather's dad. He signed to the money team, and so. Listen, Canada's got some heat coming up. So
the Brits still got you on volume and number of champions right now.
Of course. Of course. Like the one Canadian that I remember growing up was Gotti. Like to me, he's probably the most famous.
But Tam Tabalt, to your point, might be the best like
prospect
of everyone from the 2024 Olympic class.
Yeah. She's
the one right now that's the most like advanced, I think. Lewis Richardson, who's from the UK, who's actually fighting soon, who medaled in the Olympics. He looks like he's going to be like a legit, or at least a good fighter. We'll see to what extent. And he's fighting 6-rounders already.
And I'll also say this, the Brits have a great history of boxing. Like, and it doesn't even, Canada does not compare. Yeah. Like their history and the culture of boxing there is amazing. I wish Canada was like that, but go ahead.
But in basketball,
we coming too. We coming too.
Yeah, UK got some catching up to do in basketball. Anyway, okay. Boots, number 2, WBA. Number 1, WBC, which is why people were like, hey, Virgil Ortiz, this makes sense. Sebastian Fedora. But he's fighting Lima instead. Lima also ranked number 9 by WBC, but this is supposedly a WBA eliminator. So it's just confusing. And if I'm looking at here, so
why would you fight Jesus Ramos? Like, that's a good fight.
Because Jesus Ramos is fucking dangerous.
I know, but like that, like, I would have so much more respect for him if Jaron Boots Ennis was like, yo, I'm going to move up a weight class and I'm going to fight Jesus Ramos. Like, that would be G.
Abbas Baru is fighting against Tellez for the interim title later this month.
And Murtazayev, his mandatory isn't it Erickson Lubin?
Yeah, they're supposed to work out a fight.
He like, who was he gonna fight? Right?
Well,
like,
okay, so Pavel Sasulin, maybe Jesus Ramos, as we just talked about.
Does Madrimov has a fight coming up?
It has to be one of these dudes. It's just whatever. Like, whatever. Like, I just I don't know. Like, get your showcase fight on, go get a title, and then we'll see. But like, I just think Boots is he's got some allegations he has to beat. Like, you're fighting Lima. Dan Rafael basically was like, this guy's not even more dangerous than Karen Chukadazan. And I was like, well, Chukadazan actually like had like a modicum of success against Ennis.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? Like he made him struggle in the first fight, although he didn't win a round, but he just made him struggle by moving the entire fucking fight. And then in the second fight, he actually landed some shots where it was like, yo, Boots, like, what's good with your defense? Like, what's going on here?
Bohacek would be a pretty dope fight too.
Yeah.
A tough fight. I think that would be a tough fight. But yeah, you know what's crazy? It's like, I know this fight is not exciting, guys. Like, I know you guys aren't excited for it, but I think if it's a tune-up fight for a guy like Virgil or for a guy like Xander Zayas,
sure,
then it's exciting.
Or right? Even Fundora.
You want him to stay busy, so I'm not mad at that. But it's like, it's not the fight that we wanted. But a lot of these guys are like, you know, like who is he going to fight? He wasn't going to fight one of the top guys.
Here's who I want. Right here, Jesus. Keith Thurman.
I wouldn't actually mind if it was Drawn Boots Ennis and Keith Thurman.
Yes,
that's a pay-per-view fight, dude.
For the same reasons I said Xander Zayas should fight Keith Thurman. The same. By the way, I still think you should, Xander Zayas. Fight Keith. Fuck Josh Kelly. Fight Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? Not fuck Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly's actually good, but actually fight Keith Thurman instead. Josh Kelly, like, pay him some step aside money. Fight Josh Kelly after, for all I care. Who cares? But like, Keith Thurman would be way more interesting than Lima, than Susulin, than even Jesus Ramos, even though Ramos might be better right now. Kurbanov, who just lost to Susulin, then Bohachuk. Like, Keith Thurman, of anyone here, can probably even now do the best job of selling a fight just with his mouth.
The only other person,
and it's still good, still pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think one time is not one time anymore. But I wouldn't mind seeing him.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, the only other guy that I could look out on this list and I wouldn't be upset about is Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu and John. Tim Tszyu should not. No, but he could. He could fight Tim Tszyu and then fight Sebastian Fundora.
No, but if I'm Tim Tszyu, I'm like, hell no.
No, you don't want that.
I need to win, bro. Like,
I think it's kind of done for Tim Tszyu, dude. Like, maybe. I don't think he's done, but I just like. I don't know, man.
Jesus Ramos. Jesus says Charles Conwell. Hopefully your last name isn't Ramos. Says Charles Conwell is available. And if I'm Charles Conwell, I do not want Boots Ennis right now. I need to win, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to do all that. Keith Thurman would be my answer. Josh Kelly would have been more interesting. Bohachuk. You mentioned Madrimov. You said, does he
I think he has a fight coming up. I'm pretty sure he does.
Right about this.
But that sets up, like, because we saw Bud fight Madrimov, right? And so it's like, if Drawn Boots Ennis was ever chasing a guy like Bud, like, wouldn't you kind of want to fight a guy like Madrimov too?
And if you're chasing Virgil,
yes,
because Madrimov,
does he have a fight? I feel like he does.
No, I'm not seeing him on the schedule. Coming up.
Nothing set up. Okay, then fight Madrimov. Boots, like, what are we doing here?
Although if you're Madrimov, you're like, yo, I have 2 losses that are both recent. Why would you know? Like, that's the other thing you got to consider. He might not give a shit. Like, he went from Crawford to Virgil Ortiz. You know, he might not care. Like,
listen, at some point you start getting fed to the guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's what happens. That's why, like, I was happy Loma retired. Because come on, man, we knew what was going to happen there. Like,
Steven says, I think Zayas' footwork can give Boots a lot of trouble. Well, if Karen Chukadazan is any indication, I know he beat the shit out of Hermantas Stanionis. By the way, Stanionis has a fight coming up in Lithuania.
Also, keep in mind, Boots has never fought in this weight class.
Correct.
He's never fought in this weight class. So if you're thinking like Boots is going to beat Xander, no, like, this is Xander's weight class. He's a champion. He's done it in this weight class. We've never seen Boots do it in this weight class. So if I'm going to be honest, I think Xander would kind of have the upper hand here. We need to see Boots in this weight class.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people would say, yeah, Boots is a lot better, more talented. He has pound for pound potential.
But we don't know about it in this weight class.
And we also, like, it's kind of where Terrence Crawford was at one point in his career, although I thought this was unfair because Yuriorkis Gamboa was a legit win. Ricky Burns, when he beat him, was legit. Paul Stoll Boots doesn't have any of that right now.
So that's
None
the
of
knock
that.
on, but that's the knock on Boots. But I think we all know. Okay, this is how I kind of compare it. Jaron Boots Ennis is very similar to a Shakur Stevenson, but I think Shakur even has names on his resume.
I got a Crocs ad. I don't even wear fucking
Like
Crocs.
who is Stanionis? I think is a name.
That's the one. But like Stanionis
Roy
also
Monvia was a guy that's tough to beat, but he's not a name that pops out. But I think that's a name personally because I'm a geek.
But he lost, but like he barely beat Rashidi Ellis before that. He had a loss before that. I mean, Villa, I think like he's a tough out. Like he's a tough out for sure. Like, but at the same time, Emantas Stanionis, we both liked him. We both also acknowledged he fought twice in 3 years and hadn't fought in that year prior to going in with Boots Ennis. So it's like you just need to beef up your resume a little bit more. You fought David Avanesian after he had already been knocked out by Terrence Crawford and others. Before that, you know, Karen Chukadazan inexplicably got a rematch because the IBF
that was so stupid.
The IBF was like, you know what? We want to see this again.
Yeah.
You know, Custio Clayton, who was undefeated at the time, but I think we clearly knew there was a skill gap there. An old Thomas Delorme. Sergey Lipinets is actually one of his best wins.
Yeah, I would say that.
But
I would say because Lipinets was still like he wasn't Lipinets, but he was still a guy that could cause you problems, and we saw him do that. Quickly, let's get to this comment right here. The Tasteful Thickness says, "What is this? Are you two lesbians? No, your moms are not on the show."
What is that comment even?
Mazurmov
is the new.
Not today though. Not today. I got the time today.
Mazurmov is the new Derevianchenko. That's interesting. I don't hate that comparison. Derevianchenko was an absolute tough out.
Yeah.
God, he went to war with a lot of people. Yeah, Boots' best win.
Stanionis. Because let's keep in mind that Stanionis also in his prime. And you guys remember before that fight, some people were leaning towards Stanionis. Like a lot of people took Boots, but Stanionis was a guy that people were like, yo, he could cause Boots some problems. And Boots was and Boots like fought him so well, like outclassed him.
Well,
he fought him well, dude.
The last couple rounds of the first, like he got it into gear like a few rounds in, but you know, it's just nitpicky. We don't have to like whatever, it's fine.
The Tasteful Thickness says, hey, my moms are hot. Whatever.
Multiple. Stanionis is the best win. Second is probably Lipinets. Like I'm not even joking. I don't think it's Chukadazan. Although he might be next. Villa.
Yeah. Like I like Roman Villa, by the way. I think it's a tough fight, but it's a name where I see it and I'm like, okay, that's a tough fight. But if it was a casual boxing fan, they would probably slip past that name. But Villa's a tough fight, guys.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, and people would say, oh, but Brian, you like Xander Zayas. What's his best win? And what I would tell you is a couple different things. One, Jorge Garcia. Everyone was telling me Charles Conwell was the boogeyman at 154. And he lost to Jorge Garcia. So why doesn't Xander Zayas get credit for beating Jorge Garcia, if that's the case? Additionally,
because he's not going to get credit, Brian. This was my whole thing of why I didn't want him to fight Keith Thurman.
Additionally, Boots is 28. Xander's 22, about to be 23. Boots is almost 30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was still seen as a prospect like a few years ago. I mean, by the time Xander Zayas is 28, I expect more than Jorge Garcia on his resume. You know, like, I mean, if he fights Josh Kelly next, even, I think Josh Kelly would be like a top 3-4 guy on Boots' resume. Not above Stanionis and probably not above Lipinets, but you can argue against anybody else there. You know what I mean? So what are we talking about? He also beat Patrick Teixeira, who is a former world champion, which I thought was a sneaky good win as well.
Yo, that's actually a really good win.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but Xander's resume is looking pretty solid, guys.
Yeah, like
he's not fighting bums, dude. He's not fighting bums. Like he's fighting tough fights. Like those are tricky, sneaky fights.
Now, and if he were like 28, I'd be like, yo, like, come on. You know what I mean?
But that's why people are mad at Jaron Boots Ennis right now. That's why people are upset with him, because they're like, yo, you're supposed to be the face of boxing. Like, what's going on here? We want to see you in the biggest fights. And I think that's the thing. Like, we know how good Jaron Boots Ennis is, and we just want to see him in the biggest fights. This is the same type of thing with Shakur, dude. Like, Shakur doesn't get credit for his resume, and we know that he's really good, but no one's going to give him credit for it. They'll be like, who has Shakur beat? They'll start saying that.
Let's look at the card coming up this weekend, because we need to get the fuck out of here.
yeah. We've almost been here for an hour, guys. I got to get going. So let's run through this card really quick, Brian.
Let's run through this card. We have some other stuff we maybe could have gotten to, but we'll see. We'll see how the end of the show goes. Okay. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We have August 16th, this Saturday. Again, because BoxRec has very analytical rankings, Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte, I think I don't actually know if it's the main event or not. But who cares?
Well, Nick Ball and Sam Goodman is a really good fight. I could see that being the main event too, though.
Yeah, it's one of those two fights.
There's no way Dillian Whyte's a fucking main event at this point.
Moses Itauma, though, the way he's being built, I don't particularly care. Like with this card, though, there's 3 interesting fights that I think people are going to pay attention to, possibly 4. Nick Ball versus Sam Goodman, former Naoya Inoue challenger who never was because he got hurt multiple times. Couldn't stop getting hurt before his Inoue fight. And Nick Ball is going to fight him now. Nick Ball maybe fights Inoue at some point. Junso Nakatani supposedly moving up in weight. Maybe Inoue does Nakatani, Nick Ball, whatever. I don't know. But Nick Ball, one of my absolute favorite boxers in the sport to just watch, because he is 5'2". He's always pissed off, and I cannot wait to see him fight against Sam Goodman. Do you care about anything on this card outside of maybe Moses Itauma and I would say Ball versus Goodman? Raymond Ford, I guess.
I would probably. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch this. I think this is I'm going to enjoy a lot of these fights, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to watch the whole entire card.
Yes. Well, I might be on a flight.
Yeah, you might miss it, but I'm probably going to watch this whole entire card. Moses Itauma, I want to see that fight. Ray Ford, Abraham Nova. Abraham Nova, I think, can still give people some problems. And Nick Ball and Sam Goodman is a good fight. And yeah, if Naoya Inoue ends up moving up to 126, there's a chance that he could face a guy like Nick Ball.
Yes.
So this to me is very, very interesting, right? And Nick Ball should fight actually one of my favorite fighters. You know who that is, Brian? He's at 126 pounds.
Rafael Espinosa.
That's my guy right there.
I want that fight. Visually, I just want that fight.
That's my favorite fight at 126 pounds. But I don't think anybody beats Espinosa.
Nah. Well, I don't know. The
dude's a beast, dude. The length.
Racer Ramirez got him good, but I don't know. I think Moses Itauma should wipe out Dillian Whyte. If he struggles with Dillian Whyte, I don't think it's the end of the world, because this is a step up in competition. White's not what he was before, but still, this is like great matchmaking. It's like, all right, we're moving Itauma up fast, because even though he's really fucking young. We talk about Xander Zayas being 22. Moses Itauma turned 20 not that long ago, right? Moses Itauma's 20 years old. He's getting the Mike Tyson comparisons. I think that's pretty ambitious. Don't compare people to Mike Tyson. There's just a list of people you just don't compare. I don't like comparing Xander Zayas to Trinidad, for example.
By the way, guys, I was just gonna say, with Brian's Robeisy Ramirez comment, Robeisy Ramirez was supposed to win that fight. He didn't. Let's keep that in mind. He was the A side in that fight against Rafael Espinosa. Rafael Espinosa was supposed to win that fight. Robeisy Ramirez had all of Miami up in there. Okay, all the Cubans was up in there. Dude.
I didn't think Robeisy Ramirez was going to win that fight, though. You remember? I think I bet on.
No, I bet. We saw Ramirez not have these lulls in his fights, right? We kind of saw the holes, and I was like, yo, I don't think he's beating Espinosa. That's why when you're Robeisy Ramirez kind of got Espinosa a little bit there. Espinosa, the way he fights, he's going to make mistakes and get hit. But that's just his fight style. Jesus Carrington beats Espinosa. I'd like to see that. I'm not taking anybody over Espinosa in this weight class.
You know I'm New York to the fullest, but
I gotta rock with Rafael. Brian. I would really quickly bring up 126 on the screen.
Okay.
Like I just, you guys, I don't think like Rafael Espinoza is an absolute monster.
Actually, let's do it. Let's do it with the rankings instead. Let's not do it on BoxRec because I don't get.
This is easier to take a look. Unless Naoya Inoue gets into this weight class, and we don't even know how he's gonna look in this weight class, right? Like, I think Espinoza beats everybody in this weight class. He beats Angelo Leo. I would take him over Nick Ball, although that's a very interesting fight. I'm even taking Espinoza over Cool Boy Steph. I'm taking him over Bruce Carrington.
What Nick Ball did against Ray Vargas doesn't worry you in a potential matchup against Rafael Espinoza? Because Ray Vargas had a big height advantage, and Nick Ball was finding him.
But Espinoza has a very different type of power than Ray Vargas. Espinoza has devastating power, dude.
You wouldn't even take your boy Stephen Fulton against Espinoza?
Nope. Espinoza not only is my favorite fighter in this weight class, Brian, he fights my favorite style of fighting. He's one of my favorite fighters in all of boxing right now. And I don't think anybody beats him in this weight class. Like, I don't think Brandon Figueroa can beat him in this weight class.
I think Luis Neri is an interesting wild card.
Tricky, but I think Rafael Espinoza.
Interesting wild card.
Rafael Espinoza beats him. By the way, guys, this one's interesting. I'll let you read this one out. What do you think?
Kolmatov would beat Espinoza?
I don't know about that.
Kolmatov is good.
He is.
I don't think he... See, that's the thing, though.
They'll never make that fight.
because the way the ranking is set up, like, Kolmatov could actually be, like, Nick Ball's next opponent, which that is interesting to me. That's one where I think Nick Ball... I don't think he should be that heavily favored against Sam Goodman.
$5 says Brandon Figueroa fights Nick Ball next. The heartbreak kid. I guarantee you that's Brandon Figueroa's next fight.
Nah, man.
It has to be. Look, he's ranked number 2.
Elijah Pierce is up here. That's interesting. Huh. I don't know why, but all right. Brandon Figueroa.
Okay, this is true. Jesus, I know that Espinoza's defense will be his downfall, but
as is the case with a lot of Chantel's favorite fighters, except Andre Ward.
Even Virgil Ortiz. Yeah, even Virgil Ortiz, though. Like, defense is going to be his downfall. We've seen him get dropped before. We were just talking about 154 pounds. But all of Espinoza's other attributes in the way that he's built, he's my favorite in this weight class. My favorite.
Give me Rafael Espinoza and Luis Neri. Make Luis Neri the mandatory champ. That is a banger.
I watched that fight. That's a great fight.
Top rank on TNT. Honestly, and put that one in Mexico. Straight up.
Yeah, I would love that. Mexico City. Put it in Mexico City.
Yeah, Tijuana, something. Like,
I love that. Oh my god.
Yeah, oh my god. Okay, back to the card. We're just doing some matchmaking there, which we love to do. Mandatory promotions coming at a later time.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Raymond Ford versus Abraham Nova. I like Abraham Nova, but I don't think this is a great matchup for him. Ray Ford, by the way, if we could actually go back to the rankings, because this is 130. Ray Ford is 4 in the IBF rankings, 4 in the WBA rankings, 3 in the WBC rankings, and 5 in the WBO rankings. So he could be looking at a title shot next. We'll see.
Mark Magsayo is ranked number 1
yes.
for the WBC. I didn't know that.
And he was, at one point, the IBF had him ranked. That might have been a lightweight. Yeah, he's number 4 in the lightweight division for the IBF also, which is really interesting.
I didn't know that.
Ray Ford, I could see him fighting like an Oshaki Foster next, that would be good.
It's been a minute since Oshaki's been in the ring. It's been a minute. And you never know with Emmanuel Navarrete.
He's supposed to. I think he'll rematch Suarez.
He should.
I think he kind of has to. I think that's the fight. That would be very, very interesting. Oshaki Foster though versus Raymond Ford, assuming. But listen, if Abraham Nova gets this win, that would be like a monster upset and a big upset for him. Otherwise, he's kind of cooked if he doesn't get this win.
What would you think about a fight with Ray Ford and Henry LeBron?
What is Henry LeBron doing, bro? Like
he's literally good at everything. Like Henry
except
LeBron
being active. What the fuck? He hasn't fought since December.
His skill set is legit being absolutely great at everything, but not like outstanding at one thing.
Yeah.
But he's so good. Like I love watching him fight. I think
he's
that's
kind
a good
of
fight.
he's kind of super featherweight Xander Zayas, except I don't think he's as good. But the craftiness, he's 27. Bro, Henry, come on, man. Her last fight was against Christopher Diaz.
It's almost been a year. Why is that? That's
he hasn't been a
wild.
real contender in a while. Promotional shit, probably, because he's moved around a little bit. William Foster, I thought was a good win, by the way.
And also, he was signed to Top Rank, and we don't know what's going on with Top Rank.
Is he with Top Rank now?
Yeah. Well, last I remember, he was with Top Rank.
Did he sign with us? Because he was at Matchroom for a period. You might be right. But
he was with Top Rank, dude. Like, and we don't know what's going on with Top Rank.
He was with Top Rank. I don't think he's with Top Rank now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Aram card, and then his last fight. That was on. This was on the Liam Parle, Richardson, Hitchens, the Zone. Yeah, okay. When they did that in Puerto Rico. So Henry LeBron just needs to fight.
Yeah,
like, just fight. He also has like a couple like regional level titles here: WBO, NABO, and the IBF Latino title. And he's ranked where? I know WBO. 6. He's 6. He's 6. He's actually 6 across the board. Damn near.
Listen, he's a really good fighter. Very good fighter.
Henry LeBron, Raymond Ford. Honestly, Henry LeBron, just fight Abraham Nova if he loses. Just fight somebody.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a fight that Ray Ford just wins out. It's a tough fight. Like I might even
Nova first. So
yeah, just saying.
Nova can punch, but
Nova can still give you problems, right? But he hasn't looked very good in his last few fights. But he's still a guy that's a tough opponent, and you can't take a guy like Abraham Nova lightly at all.
This is a gas tank too. I was at one of Abraham Nova's very first fights because he fought on the Errol Spence, Leonard Bundu, Heather Hardy, Shelly Vincent undercard in one of the worst boxing venues ever, the Coney Island Amphitheater.
You talked about this,
2016. Yeah. Abraham Nova got dropped in that fight, and it was like a second pro fight. Yeah. So there's a chinniness to him too, perhaps. Nick Ball, Sam Goodman, Ray Ford, Abraham Nova. Oh, Philip Hergovich, David Adelaide.
I'm gonna watch that fight. That's why I'm saying I'm probably gonna watch this whole entire card. And
I'm not super convinced Hergovich gets this done.
I think Hergovich is overrated. Just saying. That's just me.
He got the gift against Zhilei Zhang.
Yeah. That come on, man. That was a pure robbery. That was one of the biggest robberies ever. I'm still mad about that. I'm a big Zhilei Zhang fan. I think if anyone's seen this show, but he just got old really fast. Like Zhilei Zhang is 41 now.
And on the way out, let's get some odds going. So, speaking of this particular sportsbook, if you were here earlier in the show, so we have. Let me just rearrange this. Nick Ball -600 against Sam Goodman. I think that's a little too generous.
Yep, way too generous.
Don't like that. I'm not betting on that. I think Nick Ball wins, but I'm not doing that.
I think the fight's really close with him and Sam Goodman.
Is there nothing else from this card?
No, FanDuel? let's just get out of here.
Are you serious?
Let's just get out of here, guys.
Okay.
They'll probably. Oh wait, Jermaine Ortiz and Steve Claggett.
Yeah, but that's next week. We got next week.
We'll be back next week, guys. By the way,
I'm not back until Wednesday after I leave Saturday.
And then I leave Wednesday, so we might not be back next week.
Unless we do. When are you back?
I'm back on Sunday.
Oh shit!
I'm on the road next week for football, so.
Ooh.
So.
Don't know if you'll see us next week. You will the week after. Don't know if you'll see us next week. TBD. We'll try to figure something out. But I will literally be out of the country. You'll also be out of the country.
No, I won't be out of the country. I'm out of the country this week.
Out of the city.
But I will be out of the city next week.
We'll figure it out. But listen, interesting card this Saturday. Meaningful fights. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get 1 or 2 upsets, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't, because all the guys who are favored and A sides have considerable advantages over their opponents. But I'm not. I'll tell you what. I'm not putting a Moses Itauma, Nick Ball, Raymond Ford, Philip Hergovich parlay together. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that.
No. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for rocking out with us on this Tuesday night. We do appreciate you. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. And we're probably not going to be back next week, but we'll be back the week after, probably, unless something crazy happens, and we might be able to figure it out. But
Maybe.
thank you for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you, and we'll be back soon. And drop your comments if you're watching this after, because we'll see them.